V. Mohan is an Indian diabetologist. He is the chairman and chief of diabetology at Dr. Mohan Diabetes Specialty Center. It is a WHO collaborating center for non-communicable disease prevention and control, and an IDF center for education, and an IDF center of excellence in diabetes care. He is also the president and director of Madras Diabetes Research Foundation in Chennai, which is an ICMR Center for Advanced Research on Diabetes. So I just hand over the session to Dr. Mohan, sir. I think he's going to take up a lead. So please.
Thank you so much, sir, for that kind introduction, the kind words. I was very honored when Brother Sheikh Dawood called me yesterday and asked me to be part of this panel. I was not aware of it, so I had to, in between two sessions, I had to squeeze this in. Thank you so much for accommodating me. When I see the distinguished panel, many of whom are my very good friends, it's very nice to sit on a panel with so many distinguished people, many of whom I have known for many, many years and for decades. I would like to, first of all, congratulate the Dr. Abdul Kalam International Foundation for taking up this initiative, because it's extremely important. I'm sure this would have made Dr. Kalam very proud to see so many people, because he was all about interdisciplinary, multi-sectoral work, as Dr. Rajan will corroborate what I'm saying. So he always believed that when different specialties come together, that is how the fertilization of new ideas occur. And for a doctor to sit with other scientists, including defense and other in the same forum, itself is something which will bring about revolution. And that is what exactly Dr. Kalam would have wanted to see. I have had personally been very much blessed to have met Dr. Kalam on several occasions. He has visited our institutions. He has been a guide to us. And therefore, a lot of the work which we have done also has been personally blessed by him. I'll go straight into the subject of medical research, because I'm a medical researcher and a physician. So the one question which people often ask me is, in fact, I was very surprised when my alma mater, the second oldest college in India, Madras Medical College, invited me 2 months ago to speak on the subject, can medical research be done in India? And they asked the question, can Madras Medical College ever do medical research? And I said, sir, you should not even ask such a question. I mean, it's an insult to anybody to ask such a question. Can you ask such a question? Can you do it? We should be the leader in research. We should be the world leader. We should be beating China. We should be beating the United States. Today, we are emerging as a world nation. So such questions should never even be asked. There's no question mark behind all this. We should say how we can become and prove to the world how we should become. If you take medical research in India, India has so many phenotypes and genotypes. The other panelists, the doctors who are with me, my good friend Dr. Das and others, will agree that each phenotype is so different, each genotype is so different, that for the next 50 years, if we work, it won't be sufficient to bring out novel research in India, because so much needs to be done. If you take diabetes, there are so many unanswered questions. We always knew that type 2 diabetes can occur 30 years, 20 years younger than in the West. Why? We still don't know. We are researching, we're finding so many things. We have found, for example, that the beta cell function, the pancreatic beta cell function, goes down very rapidly. If we have, suppose you take 100 Indians who are in the stage of pre-diabetes, and you take 100 white people who have pre-diabetes, the white man may be much bigger, BMI may be higher, body weight will be higher, but he doesn't progress fast. We thin Indians seem to progress very fast. Within 3 years, they've zoomed across to the stage of diabetes. Why? And what can we do to prevent it? There are many questions like this which begs answers. If you study the genomics, you will find it's different. If you study the phenotype, you will find it's different. If you study the biochemistry, you find big differences. A thin Indian being more insulin resistant than a fat American, for example. Why? So many basic science and so many other things need to be done. Take COVID-19. With a population of 1.3666 billion people, what is the number of deaths in India? Of course, you should not have a single death in India. I'm not belittling that. I'm not going into that. But you take our population, people said there will be 300 million deaths in India and so on. What happened? Nothing happened in India. We have less people with COVID than the number of deaths in the United States. The United States is 3 times smaller than us in population. Why is that? Why is that? What is different? Is it genetics? Is it because we had BCG vaccination? Is it because we already have immunity? Is it because the strain is different? Is it because the genotype is different? Is it because the virus is different? Is it because we behave differently? there are a million answers there itself to be found if we start researching. So I'm sure COVID itself will open a big research chapter in medical research itself, which itself shows that we are different. Coming to more practical aspects, which Professor Kalam would have liked, he was always for low cost technology. He was always for Make in India. He was always for the Pura, which has already been mentioned. So, inspired by him, many years ago, in the village of Chunampet, in about 120 kilometers south of Chennai, we set up, along with the help of the National Agro Foundation, and Dr. Kalam visited that and saw our telemedicine van there. We set up about 15 years ago, I think, the first telemedicine facility for diabetes, covering 42 villages in and around Chunampet. Not only that provided service there, we built a rural center. All the facilities available in the urban areas, we were able to give in the rural areas. An exact transformation of his Pura in the field of diabetes. What that resulted in is people could get low cost treatment at their doorstep without traveling to Chennai. And many of them, in fact, people from Pondicherry started going there saying it is lower cost and it's nearer our place. So this is one example, and I'm sure Dr. Das will be able to give you many examples of his LV Prasad, how they are also able to do that. Today, with COVID-19, telemedicine just turned on its head. A methodology which is not even legalized. The government of India had said that if you do a telephone consultation, it's a non-bailable offense. You can put in jail. Why? Because somebody in Bombay gave a wrong thing, or he heard it wrongly. The patient took the wrong medicine and died. Okay, so telemedicine was actually stopped. Within a week or two of COVID coming in, telemedicine guidelines were introduced. It was made legalized, and thousands of doctors all over India, including me. Even now, I sit in this very room. This is my library at home, from which I have not moved out for the last 2 months, but I've done hundreds and hundreds of teleconsultations right from here, learning many things in computer which I never even knew. So telemedicine really took off. So I would say COVID-19 actually taught us a lot of things, and Dr. Kalam would have been very happy and proud that such a field actually opened up. And I would say that somebody mentioned about education. This is a very good field for India to teach the world medicine. What is the advantage that India has? We are excellent in computers. Our software is good. Our computing skills are good. We are the IT capital of the world. Our doctors are fabulous. Our English is good. Okay. The Chinese can't compete with us in that one thing. They can beat us in many other things. So with this, why can't we become the medical education center, not only for the whole of developing countries, Africa, South America, Asia, and so on, but also for developed countries, because they have to outsource. Do you know that 50% of all the journals in my field are printed in either from US, are printed in Chennai or in Bangalore? They are outsourcing it to us. When Sindhuraj here picks up the phone and he does all the printing for the journal, when you send it to America, it's actually printed here, including Nature magazines and so on. So I think India's got a large role to play. I'd like to talk about low cost. If you take a small insulin pump, it is smaller than this phone. Okay, it's about half the size of this phone. Very small thing. I'm sure for engineers, it is nothing. It just drives a little needle through a syringe is driven and it delivers insulin slowly. That's all. You know what is the cost of that? Because it's only monopoly, there's only one guy producing it from the US company. Minimum cost is 2.5 lakhs. It goes to 5, 6, 7 lakhs. I am sure if Indian engineers come together, we can do it for 20,000 rupees or 30,000. There's nothing in the technology. When I look at it, say, for this, they're charging 2.5 lakhs, 3 lakhs, because that what happens, such a useful technology, type 1 children, every child should be on that, but we are not able to get through to that. That is where I think if we sit down together with engineers and tell you what you want, you will be able to produce in India, and then we can then export this, like our Maruti car or like something else that we did, like a nano car. We should be able to do this at very low cost. Let me tell you one other example, which Dr. Das also may touch upon it, but my wife is a colleague of Dr. Das and a retinal specialist, so we have a lot of interest in diabetic retinopathy. Do you know that a retinal camera, a good one, used to cost minimum 15 lakhs. It used to go to 25 lakhs. Today, there are at least 2-3 Indian companies which make retinal cameras. It started with about 1.5 lakhs. Now it's about 2.5 to 3 lakhs. High quality, excellent. When they came, the Americans and the British said, oh, this will be low quality. It was better quality than others. We were able to show that. Number 2, we were able to get the images on a mobile phone. Okay. And number 3, using artificial intelligence, In about 2-3 seconds, you can say whether retinopathy is present or not. And then you can say whether it has to be referred to an ophthalmologist or not. Okay. Take the picture. You can even take it like a selfie. Just keep it like that, click it. You can get your own retinal thing. That is also another camera has come with that. Technology is developing so fast. And in India, we can produce things at such low cost that we can actually be a world leader. And I'm sure the others who are going to talk the same thing. I would say that while it is extremely important to have such forum, as somebody mentioned, follow-up action is more important. If we are able to meet instead of virtually like this, but say in a room, where not in a virtual room, but in an actual room, where we sit down together and write down the priorities for the country in medical field and get 10 of the top scientists from other fields to come in and say, this is what we need. I'm sure India will take leaps and bounds in its research field, in its technology, and thereby reaching out to the poorest of the poor. Today, people are not able to afford it. Today, we have the best of everything, but it's available only for the rich man. If we are able to make that cheap, if we are able to make it in India, if we are able to mass produce it, if we are able to test it, if we are able to show that it's not inferior to anything else in the world, I'm sure that India will play a big role. The HCQ or hydroxychloroquine, America did not even know what the drug was because they don't have malaria, they don't have any other disease that is treated. We had to supply that to the United States, and the president of the United States saying, can you please supply hydroxychloroquine to us? Why can't they say, can't you supply all the equipments to us? Metformin, the commonest drug used in the used all over the world. 50% of the entire metformin that is used in the United States comes from India. This is not an exaggeration. 50% of the entire metformin used in the whole US by every person with diabetes comes from India. So India has a lot of scope in the area of medical research, medical education, in technology, taking these services to the urban areas. Dr. Rajan said that first let us do it in urban areas. Sir, I think the urban-rural divide, as you very well know, is collapsing. No more we have only urban and rural. In Kerala, where is rural today? It is just one continuous urban. There is no rural at all. In Tamil Nadu, today 50 to 70% of Tamil Nadu is urbanized. So very soon, our so-called rural areas will also get urbanized. So whatever we have here today and we are enjoying in the metropolitan cities will soon come to the rest of the country. But we have a huge responsibility. With 1.366 billion people, a lot of people still being under the poverty belt, we have a lot to think about. And I think it is leaders like you who can help the country. And I'm sure nothing will please Dr. Abdul Kalam than to see such a forum being formed by eminent people with the people in mind. Dr. Kalam always put the poor man in front. Like Gandhi said, think of the poor man in the street. If it's not going to help him, don't do it. So I think on that particular note, I'd like to end by thanking you all once again, giving me an opportunity to say a few words. And if there are any questions for me, I'll take them. I unfortunately have another program at 5 o'clock. So congratulations once again. I listened to 2 or 3 of the speakers. It was very, very inspiring. I promise you that on my part, I will give you whatever I can to set up such a group and to keep it going in the interest of science in general and India in particular. Thank you.